Hey folks, I'm back. Good to see you again. Got another video for you. And also, just so you know, I know that the sky behind me looks nutty. It's been looking like that quite a bit recently. I don't know. What are you going to do? Anyway, I got some cool captures. 7 of them are things I saw online. 3 of them, I think, are my own. And yeah, check them out and get in the comments. Let me know what you think, and we'll talk to you on the other side. Thanks. All right, so here we go. I saw this on a YouTube channel and it caught my eye. So, yeah, I found it really interesting after I screen recorded and slowed it down and saw what I thought I saw. And don't know what it is, but it's worth sharing, like all of these things. So, check it out. I'll be curious to see if you see what I see, which is this. Slow this down here. There's that thing, and then there's this thing, and they're going from left to right really, really quickly. Then when you slow it down some more and zoom in a bit more, you see them and you can observe them a little more, and then you start to see things that aren't quite normal. And what I'm talking about specifically with regard to the bottom one is how it seems to kind of disappear for a couple frames. Right here toward the end, right there, toward the end of the plane. And we'll zoom in a little closer and a little slower, and you can see it's in 2 frames, and then it seems to be gone, and then it kind of pops back in for a couple more frames. Of the two, the top one's a bit more prominent. So as we go back to real speed, you'll see the top one first. Now that you know what your eye is looking for, you'll see the top one first. But uh, yeah, they're there. It's interesting. This second one here is a YouTube short that just popped up in my feed, so I was checking it out. It's some sort of osprey type craft from China, apparently. But I was watching it, and then right at the end of one segment of the clip, right before it transitions, I see this thing just shoot straight up from the bottom. So, like with all these things, I just rewound it, screen recorded it, and then scrubbed through to see if I could find what I thought I saw. And this is one of those things where, yet again, I found it. And this thing's interesting because that one frame seems to go behind the Osprey or the craft. And we'll take another look at it. But this is it in real speed, and it's choppy like this because, like I said, it was a short, and I didn't have a ton to work with. But whatever this thing is shoots straight up from underneath it at a very high rate of speed, and that's seemingly to me without question. And there's that one frame where before it gets up near the rotor where it's gone, and you can only conclude that it's behind the craft. So yeah, I thought I would include it because it's pretty cool. So I was walking around my neighborhood, looked up, and I saw like 15 to 20 birds and decided to record them. See, there's a cloud there with the U shape, and the top left of the U right here is where we're going to focus. And each time that thing pops up, I'm going to try to pause it as we back out and get closer and closer to real speed. There's the U shape and paused right there. That's the thing. It's coming from left to right and it goes through. And once again, there it is paused at the left side of that U shaped cloud. um, and as we back away, I'll show you again with the arrow. It's right there. And then now here, before we get to real speed, this is real distance. And there it is there. And then watch this. We're going to go in very slow. Okay, we let it run. And then that thing's there now. That's how fast this thing was moving. And here it is in real speed. I totally understand that it's not observable with the naked eye. I get it. But that's sort of the point of this, right? That if it was an insect close to the screen, and that's why I was moving so quickly, it'd be gigantic and it'd be blurry. But this thing's up there with those birds, I think. And those birds are barely moving, and this thing's just flying through. I think it's amazing. Okay, we're going to check out another air show capture here that I saw. This is like a 2 for 1. Go from the 7 o'clock down in the bottom left toward the 3 o'clock angle. You see this thing, this white thing zipping by. And then as the plane goes down further, again from like the 8 o'clock up toward the 2 o'clock position, another one of these things looks like the same type of deal goes right by it. And as we work back to real distance and real speed here on these two captures, you'll see that you can actually see them, right? Like You can see them. They're not impossible to see with the naked eye. That's what I saw and caused me to record them and slow it down. The question is, what are they, right? And I saw Dr. Shipe on Custodian File recently was showing something similar. One of his viewers, Ben in Oklahoma, captured something like this, and yeah, it's reminding me of this thing where they're moving quickly, and it's just curious because they're like white, almost like clouds. You don't know what they are, but very interesting. Okay, we're going to stick with the air show concept here, and this is another one where I was just watching it and then saw it in real time, so I recorded it, and then scrubbed through it. And yeah, and this one is interesting because right there it seems to be underneath the plane, which yeah, it's cool. I personally find these things pretty interesting because with planes moving this fast, you can't tell if these things are hovering or moving or not moving, or if they're what they're doing. But whether they're moving or not, they are there, and so they're like these white orbs, and either they're hovering or they're playing around these airplanes or whatever they are, they're up there. These are also cool because, they're white, kind of cloudy color, opaque, but with a blue background, I mean, you can see these things. They're not terrifically difficult to see as long as you know what to look for and you're actually looking for it. You can see them. They're up there and you can see them. All right, we're going to step away from the air shows for a sec. So this is one of these things I call cuttlefish, aerial cuttlefish, because they seem to change shape, change disposition, appearance. I mean, they don't seem consistent, but you know, I used to think forever that these were just neurological artifacts, little flashes of light I was seeing. And it wasn't until the last year I started recording and realizing it isn't, my neurology. There's stuff in our environment I just didn't know was there. And I think this frame here and then this frame here is the reason that it caught my eye primarily because those two, and you'll see as we work to full speed, those are the two frames that seem to catch your eye the most. To check this out. I mean, I don't know what these things are, but like I said, forever I just wrote it off as my own wonky wiring of my neurology, but not anymore. I mean, these things are just shooting around our environment. It's like we're just finding out about some sort of new, it's like a macrobiome we didn't know about, basically. It's crazy. All right, this is another YouTube shot I saw. It's not an air show, but yeah, and it's pretty nuanced, but it's also here. You look in this circle, you're going to see something shooting across from the bottom right to the bottom left. And in this circle, this is real speed. In the circles where you can see it the easiest in this one frame. But uh, yeah, something is there and passed underneath or between the camera and these two airplanes. Right here, I zoom in and scrub back and forth so you can see it's definitely a right to left motion, and something quick gets caught on camera here. I understand this is subtle, but that's not a reason not to include it. Here it is again at real speed. All right, here's a crazy one of mine that I recorded last week toward the first half of February. Uh, it's two things, and you can see the telltale pixelation and sort of like plasma-ish bubble this thing seems to be in, and it's changing shape like one of these black blobs, and it's dipping in and out. Um, so there's that, and then there's this other one that comes screaming through the scene here. And again, this is 4K, 60 frames per second, and it's hopping through that one that's going southwest to northeast. Um, and particularly the one coming down to the bottom left, and then it levels out. It shows a degree of control, which is interesting. This is it at real speed. And the other reason this sort of made the cut is because this is actually happening rather high up in the sky. And I'm going to show you how high for those who think this is just, these are little bugs just right in front of the camera. Um, I'm going to show you uh, where this actually is in terms of the original video. But before we do that, I also want to point out, I mentioned at the outset the pixelation and the kind of plasma-ish look of these things. Look at that. That's exactly what these things look like. Here's another shot of it. It's like it's pixelated. It's like it's in a bubble. It's the strangest thing. Anyway, so check this out. See here in the circle, you can see both of those. And we're going to kind of pan back and you're going to see where this actually took place in the sky. Um, there they are there. And here it is in real speed, real distance. It occurred way up there. And that's not a bug in front of a camera. You just have to zoom in and scrub and you can get this close and then you start to see things that just don't really make sense to you. All right, back to an air show for something that looks a lot to me like what I envision a Foo Fighter looking like. So this thing is changing color, it's dimming in and out, um, and it seems to buzz this airplane. As you can tell, the thumbnail for this presentation came from this capture, and I just think it's really cool. It's difficult to really tell what it is, but it has like the quintessential presentation for what so many pilots have described over the years. All right, we're going to wind down the presentation with this last air show capture, which is, I don't know what to make of it, but I think it's funny because my son looked at this and said, "Did that go through the airplane?" And my initial thought was, no, it went in front of it or behind it. And he said, "Why? If these things go in and out of the mountains like they do, they can go in and out of airplanes." And, I can't say he's wrong. I mean, it's just he changed my perspective on how I look at these things. Not that this went through the airplane, but why couldn't it have? And that was his point. And I think his perspective was good for me to hear. So yeah, I think this is really interesting, and it's sort of easy to get caught up in the in front of the plane, behind the plane, but you kind of forget the fact that the basics, like where are the wings? How is this thing being propelled through space? Like those general questions you kind of forget about. But yeah, this is interesting. All right, we're going to quickly recap these. So, of these 10, this was the first one, and these two things went on the top from left to right. And then the bottom of these things seemed to disappear for a few frames, which is a little suspect. Then we had this Osprey type thing from China, which was a YouTube short, and this thing went straight up. Uh, and then this super fast thing that I recorded, and then this was the 2 for 1, um, which yeah, I don't know what they are, but and like those two and this one are observable because they're kind of lighter, and then with the blue background you could see them. And then these things, these aerial cuttlefish around, I keep seeing them, and I don't know what they are, but they're there. Then we had this thing shooting across the bottom of the screen from right to left while this plane was refueling. And then this capture of this crazy macro biome up in the sky above Los Angeles. Yeah, and then, this kind of Foo Fighter esque capture here from YouTube, which I thought was really cool. And then we wound down with this one with no obvious sign of propulsion or stabilization. Yep. All right, that's 10 of them. Pretty interesting stuff, in my opinion. It was worth the video. I've been recording and watching and not producing as much because, if there's nothing extraordinary or super interesting, I don't want to waste anyone's time. But yeah, I thought these were cool, and I wanted to share them and share what I was able to find and watching some videos online. So get in the comments and let me know what you think. Also, I'm playing around with the idea of doing a video about this whole raising your vibration thing, and this kind of experience that I've been going through over the last couple of years. I'm sort of on the fence about doing it. So also, if you care, get in the comments or even email me at latchkeyhustle@gmail.com and let me know whether it's something you're interested or not. I'm thinking about putting a video together, sort of walking through the process I've been going through and sort of telling the story of the last few years of my life. And I think a lot of it dovetails into the experiences I have in this space. So anyway, again, I don't want to bore people. If it's not something you want to see, let me know that too, and that's cool. So anyway, thanks for your time. Appreciate it. Take care.